go ahead and jump to your module folder, and in the steps folder, let's go ahead and open up the 13th step, which is called Manage Delete Files. Copy the entire code and paste it over the code that's currently in your assets.module file and save it. Okay, this is the step where we recreate the functionality where we added a delete image link under each image and then added a global delete all link. The first step for this is adding an item in the menu. So let's take a look at our assets menu function. Down here at the bottom, we've added a new one called assets/manage/delete. We've given it a title, description, and the page callback is assets managed delete callback. And we can scroll to the very bottom of the file and view this function here. Okay. As with our previous example, we need to check for the third or the fourth argument passed as a 3 to the arg function for all, and if so, we're going to delete all of our files. And since this is at the top, let's go ahead and cover this first. Our first step is going to be loading our files, so we're going to use the utility function we built in the last step called assets_load_managed_files. And just to take a quick look at this, what we're doing is building a query. We're looking for every file whose URI matches the folder where we're storing our files by checking the URI for starts with, and then public assets managed, and then running through all of the results, building a list of file IDs, and returning the file load multiple from that, which returns the file objects. Okay, and once we do that, here, we're going to loop through the files, and we're going to use a function called file usage delete to delete our marker in the file usage table that says, hey, our module is using this particular file, so please don't delete it. We're going to withdraw that so that we can safely delete the file if we're the last ones using it. And the way we use this is by passing the file object as the first parameter, and then basically using the same structure as our file usage add function. The name of the module comes next, the name of the object, in this case image, and the unique ID that we're giving this counter. And then we're going to run file delete on the file, and this will work only if all of the usage tokens have been withdrawn. And we're returning the value in this delete object just in case we need to use it later. So this demonstrates both how to withdraw usage and how to delete the file afterwards. If this is successful, we'll go ahead and say the files have been deleted, and we're going to use the Drupal goto function to go to the destination item that we passed in our query parameter. The rest of this function deals with deleting a single file, and the logic is pretty much the same as deleting multiple files, except we're using a couple different bits. First of all, we're using file load to load a single file instead of file load multiple, and we're passing it a single FID. Now, in the query string that we passed to the delete image link, we're passing a FID instead of the entire file path. So that's one difference with the link. Let's go ahead and scroll up to the page and take a look at this real quick. So we have our delete link here, and we're passing it a query parameter in the options to the L function. The destination is the same as our previous example using unmanaged files, but instead of using the file URI and passing that, we're passing it the file ID and pulling the FID from the file object to do that. Okay, I'm going to scroll back down to our function here. So that's loading the file object. In the next part, we need to validate to make sure that this file is in our managed directory, because we haven't done any checks for that yet. So we're going to use the strpos function, string position function. We're going to check the file URI and make sure that the public assets managed folder and schema is at the very beginning of the file name. So the position is 0, and we use the triple equal sign to check against that. If that's true, then we want to let them know that they can't delete the file. Chances are they're doing something a little bit sketchy, and we're not giving them very specific information here. And just like in our previous example, we might want to do multiple validation checks, so we're going to set this error to true and process the end result differently depending on whether this is set or not. In this case, we're just doing one validation check. So we'll check to see if the error is set, and if it's not, then we're going to go ahead and run the delete. We'll first do the usage delete, and then do the file delete, and then set a message letting the user know that it's been deleted. And finally, we're going to go back to the thumbnail page using the Drupal go-to function. If we jump to our browser, we can see this in action. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page. Because we added a new callback for the delete function, we need to clear our caches. So I'm going to go to the home button and then flush all caches. Now let's go ahead and test this out and click a delete button. Okay, sure enough, we get our message up here. The file has been deleted and the actual image has disappeared from our listing. So we're good to go. This is working exactly the way that we want it to. One more difference between managed and unmanaged files is how we're going to handle private files. So in our next step, we're going to take a look at what the difference is there.